5, 6, 7, 8.
Date. It's a little rhyme. Let's go on a date.
Yeah. Me and you. Let's go on a date.
Yes. All right. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Gilmore to Say with Tara and Haley. I'm Tara. This is Haley. Hi, Haley.
Hi, Tara.
It's spring. Let's go on a little spring date together.
Let's go on a little date. I feel like spring is so like date weather. Like it's like wedding season, you know, like you get a little bouquet of flowers, you know, just like it feels nice. It feels very rom-com season.
It does. And I feel like today's episode is a little bit like we're picking out dates, like a little like flower bouquet. We're going to give you a bouquet of dates to really usher in spring.
I know. I like immediately calls to mind. We were talking about this when we were like coming up with this episode. Is Miss Congeniality like
the perfect date?
Perfect date.
April 25th. Someone said that in the Instagram question box. Because it's not too hot, soon. It's not too cold. All you need is a light jacket.
Wait, it's actually next Tuesday is April 25th.
This is airing at the end of March.
This is March.
I was like,
it's March.
What are you talking about?
It's fully March. I was like,
suddenly you just skipped ahead, pressed the fast forward button and said, it's April 25th because it's not too hot. It's not too cold. All you need is a light jacket.
It's actually quite cold outside.
It is. It's chilly, burr. But hopefully by the time this episode airs, it won't be super chilly.
It will not be chilly burr.
We are recording this quite early. Today is Fat Tuesday. Yes. It is March 4th when we're recording this. But we know spring is upon us, so it's making us feel very excited for the not burr weather.
Very excited. That's why I actually wear green today to encourage.
I love that sweater on you.
I love this. This is one of my favorite ones. It's from Rebel and Fleur. It's a Throne of Glass reference.
Love.
Books.
Books.
She's heard of a book or two.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, but spring itself, which means the spring gazebo is coming back.
It is. It will be available.
Friend, the spring gazebo.
Of course, it'll be available for anyone who wants to get in the right mind for the season, get in the mood at www.gilmoretosay.com, of course.
Of course.
And yeah, we're excited. We have another spring item that will be released next month that we're really excited about. So we'll tell you about that as it gets closer to April, which it is March right now.
Yes, which it's not. Which it's not April. Who said that? That's so weird. It's March. It's totally March.
Yeah. It's like we said, it's March 4th when we're recording this Fat Tuesday. And I'm really excited because, as you know, Brett is from New Orleans. Mardi Gras is huge down there. So we got a king cake from our local bakery today. I'm so excited. We're going to have a slice after we're done recording.
I'm so happy for you. I want a slice.
Yeah. Well, I'll save you some.
Maybe I should go get one.
You should. Do they sell them in Atlanta?
Well, yeah, of course.
They sell them everywhere? I guess. It's New York.
Yeah. Yeah. They do.
Yeah.
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 You know where they have them at the Publix bakery.
Oh, fun. Publix. You should totally get one today. Get one to enjoy with your family.
Because I need to go get some new flowers because mine, they
are dying.
I got my mom these flowers for Valentine's Day, and they've just been slowly dying in the background of all of the videos.
So funny. I will say the other day when you mentioned them, you were like, oh, my flowers look like so dead. I was like, no. They honestly didn't. I didn't notice. Today, a little dead.
They looked, this guy, dead as could be. Dead as a doornail, that one. And I can like dead roses have a very particular smell. And that's how I know. So we're going to go get some fresh ones. So in the next video.
For April.
Don't you worry. Yeah, for April.
We'll usher it in. Fresh flowers. I love that.
When I get fresh roses, at that point, the episode that we will have aired, we will have met our friends.
What? Who are our friends?
Amy Sherman Palladino.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Lauren
like
Graham,
on an episode,
Kelly Bishop,
like in our rewatch, and I was like, Lucy and Olivia. Are you really excited?
No,
you gonna buy flowers for them?
No. I'm talking about our friends.
I know. I can't believe it.
Kelly Bishop.
Yeah,
I cannot wait.
This episode is airing right before we go.
Yes,
crazy. Future you and me are freaking out right now.
I know. Well. Current me and you are also kind of freaking out as well.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
To a not as urgent degree.
It's not as imminent yet. We still haven't decided what we're wearing. We still have a lot of things to figure out, but we're really excited to go to LA.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun.
Because we have a plane ticket and nothing else.
We have some other things. We're getting it together.
We have a couple other things.
Yeah.
But at this point, I think the giveaway that we were doing on our Instagram will have been decided.
Which is very exciting for
I'm
said
just so excited
individual.
that one of our listeners also gets to go, which is so exciting. And I just can't wait.
Me too.
We'll have all the details. We'll do recap, do all that stuff for y'all.
Wait.
Don't you worry.
It's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get there, we are here to talk about dates. And like you said, what better time to go on a date than in the spring? We were kind of thinking about what we wanted to do to celebrate spring. We've done How to Have a Gilmore Girls Spring. We've, you know, taken you through all of the spring episodes, some of our faves, some of our least faves. But in those episodes, there have been a number of dates and, you know, obviously in other seasons as well.
Of course.
Which we'll talk about today. But we've been wanting to, for years, do this episode that kind of encapsulates a lot of dates. I could have sworn we talked about this.
Okay. So Tara and I have a document called Pod HQ that was born in 2021. And all of our episode titles are named after Gilmore Girls episodes. They're like play on titles, of course. We love to do. And one of the ones for The Perfect Dress in season 6, I had written next to it The Perfect Date. And Tara thought that I meant like dates on Gilmore Girls. That wasn't what I meant, but we love that you misunderstood that.
About doing an episode about dates.
Probably.
Years ago. I remember having this conversation. We've talked about doing a lot of shit, but I do remember.
This I actually meant The Perfect Date was June 3rd.
Got it.
That's what I meant for that one.
I just remember us having a conversation at one point about having a dates episode. And every time that I would scroll through that.
We've had so many conversations.
We have. But every time I would scroll by that, The Perfect Date, I was like, oh, that would be such a good episode to do at some point. And as we've mentioned many times since we started 2025, we have our 2025 basically mapped out. But when we had a spring episode, I was like, I don't really know what we're going to do for this. We usually do an annual spring episode. So I thought, what a perfect opportunity. Since, of course, for us, a lot of like, I don't know, when I think of spring, I think of A-Tisket, A-Tasket, and I think of all those dates that they go on because it's an episode that's like kind of about like a lot of little dates that happen and like how they go wrong, how they go right, how some people end up with people that they didn't expect to. And I think it's a very fun episode. We released it, of course, our recap of A-Tisket, A-Tasket from Patreon. We released it for last spring after our spring episode. So I thought on the heels of that, what better time than now to talk about dates? So
let's go on a date.
We're going to chronologically go through all of, if not most of the dates that happened throughout the series and try to hit them all. We might miss some and you guys can yell at us. That's fine. And then we are going to rank our top 5. And then Haley and I are going to build a date. What we would take from our favorite dates and use to build our ideal date.
Right.
I'm excited.
Perfect.
So let's start with season 1. I didn't really go in chronological order throughout the season. I just like kind of
they're all season 1 dates.
Yes,
okay, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So Max and Lorelai's snow date in Love, More and Snow.
You know, I actually forgot about that one.
You did?
Oh, that's good.
Wait, that's a good one. That's like one of the first really ones I thought of.
Oh, okay. Love. Okay.
Suki and Jackson's first date, which is a double date, of course, with Rune and Lorelai. So it's like equal parts cute, equal parts miserable. But then also there's a double date happening at the same time between Dean and Rory and Lane and Todd, which is also kind of a disaster. It's equal parts cute, equal parts disastrous. Well,
yes. Which makes sense because that episode is called
Double Date.
Double Date.
Makes sense. Now, here's my question. Does the Chase Bradford setup in Star-Crossed Lovers and Other Strangers count?
Okay. Well, I included that, of course. Like, I just felt like just because your parents are there doesn't mean it's not a date.
It's a setup. It's a total setup.
It's a setup. But I also will mention that the double date, I like did like a little sub date as the date at Luke's.
It's not.
It's like a different date. They're by themselves at that point.
It's not. So, yeah, it's very cute. You're so right. And then, of course, in the same episode with the Chase Bradford setup, we get probably one of the most famous dates from season 1, which is Dean and Rory's 3-month anniversary.
Which, we're not talking about how the dates end.
No, we're talking about the dates themselves.
That's a fucking cute date.
We'll talk about it later because I have thoughts. Okay. Now, there are also dates throughout the series that we hear about, but we don't actually see. And so I wrote down Tristan and Paris's date.
Yeah. Tara actually texted me last night, or was it this morning? At some point in the past, if we should include some point, if we should include dates that we don't see. First, I didn't know what she meant.
She was like, what? I was like, dates we don't see. She's like,
yeah, dates we hear about. And I was like, yes, because we can make the rules and we can decide.
Yeah, this is our place.
Also,
we make
because
the rules.
I like the idea of dates we haven't seen.
I do too. I have thoughts about that later. Because this date with Tristan, it did seem really cute and it seemed like she had a lot of fun. I know it doesn't really end well for Paris, but it is.
But that's not
fun.
The point.
No, it's not the point.
Yeah.
Are there any dates that I did not include from season 1?
I don't think so.
I didn't know if you wrote any down that I missed.
I'm trying to remember what season this is from. When Lorelai is sitting on the counter at Max's house.
Mm-hmm. That is season 1. That's Paris is burning. Yeah, I guess that's a date. Yeah, they're having a date. You're so right. Yeah.
I had that. I didn't write it down, but I was trying to remember that because I was like, maybe I'm sure Tara will get the ones that I missed.
Yeah.
But
would you consider that damn Donna Reed with Dean and Rory a date?
Oh, you're so right. Yeah.
Would you consider Luke and Lorelai painting a date?
No.
Okay.
These are like romantic dates, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that feels like a friend date. Like you made an appointment with your friend.
Yeah, you made plans with your friend. Very different.
Plans, not an appointment.
An appointment. We have an appointment.
I have an appointment with my friend, actually. I have to go.
That's so funny. Okay, so then let's move on to season 2.
Yes.
We have the double date in Red Light on the Wedding Night with Dean and Rory and Max and Lorelai, which I find to be
classic.
Very cute.
Yeah.
We have, again, a date that we hear about, but we don't actually see. We have the date that Lorelai goes on with that younger guy, Paul, in Runaway Little Boy, that she keeps getting made fun of for because she's a casual dater now, which I love. And then, of course, the ultimate dating episode, A-Tisket, A-Tasket. All of those dates. Of course. We get Jess and Rory. We get Suki and Jackson. We get Luke and Lorelai. Lane almost goes on her first date with Henry, and that doesn't work
almost.
Out. Yeah. Yeah. We almost get a date between Kirk and Suki.
Dates. Yeah. Aw. What a pairing. What a pairing.
Are there any other dates in season 2 that you mentioned?
Do we consider, because I have almost dates, because like there's some of them that like you feel like this is almost going to occur. Do you consider Rory going to seek out Jess
in New York,
having that New York moment? Is that a date? Because it has undertones of romance.
Yeah, kind of.
While not actually.
I guess so. Maybe.
Like if you were in a relationship with Jess post Dean and you were like considering your relationship and you were like, oh my gosh, when was our first date? You wouldn't necessarily harken back to New York.
No, I would say A-Tisket, A-Tasket.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
But yeah, but I get what you mean. Because someone wrote that in our question box when we asked
for... did they?
Yes, when we asked for favorite dates. One was Rory and Jess shopping for records in the music shop.
Do we call that a friend appointment?
Yeah, I think we call that a friend appointment.
Yeah, I think even though it wasn't an appointment that she made.
Yeah, because I have something to say about that later in season 4. I have something to say about that.
Okay.
So it's like kind of a friend appointment, I would say.
Yeah, okay.
But if we forgot any, let us know. In season 2.
Definitely.
I'm sure we did. Okay, moving on to season 3. Paris and Jamie.
So cute. I love...
Me too.
Love them.
Love them.
Well, because it's a date we don't see, but we see the preparation.
But we see the prep and we see him picking her up for the date, which is so cute.
There's a guy. Closet.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's just so cute. The prep for the date is so, so, so cute. And then in 8 o'clock at the Oasis, Lorelai goes on a date with Peyton Sanders, of course, who she meets at the auction with her. John Hamm. Gotta love him. And we hear about the date, but we don't see the date. We see her prepping to go on the date. We see him pick her up, similarly to Paris and Jamie. And then we hear the aftermath of the date, but we don't actually go on the date with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it sucked.
And it did. And it did suck. And speaking of, Lorelai's fishing date with Alex.
Yes.
Also their first date with all the coffee.
I was about to say that was Alex, the Alex era.
The Alex era.
We've got the coffee date, we've got the fishing date, and we've got the New York date.
With Suki and Jackson, which is so cute in Swan Song. I love that.
What's the name of that musical they go see?
Levittown.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very, very cute. I really like that date a lot.
Yeah.
Love.
I like that because Alex really seems to get her friends.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like it's like which I guess it was 2 years ago come May when we decided that Alex was the elite man.
Oh, I know. Girls. And at this point we haven't recorded this episode yet. We're recording it this week, but with Sebastian, we're gonna kind of revisit that.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. That was last week.
I'm really curious to see where we land with that.
Yeah. I really want to know his take on us having decided that Alex was the man.
I don't think we should tell him until after.
No, yeah. I want to see what
taint his vision
about our results. No. Don't want to, because maybe he'll come to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
But at this point, y'all will have known. And if you haven't listened to that episode, go back because I'm sure it's a lot of fun.
I'm sure it was.
It has to be.
It has to be. Oh, we also see in season 3, Nicole and Luke go on their first date. We don't see the date, but we see.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about Nicole.
I know. And I love that it ends at Luke's, where Jess is like, I'm just gonna go take a walk for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like
for about an hour.
What do you need longer? It's so funny.
Oh my gosh. I just like, okay. Someone they love to accuse me of ruining Jess's character. But I had forgotten how much I love, like, even just talking about early seasons with Jess, I forgot how much I love him. And he's just a sarcastic asshole sometimes in the best way. What, you need longer? Like, oh, I miss that man. We're in season 7 on Patreon right now, and I'm missing him so much. Snarky Jess.
I do too. I miss Snarky Jess. Hey, speaking of, back to season 2 for a second. Would we consider the ice cream date in cones?
Okay, if we're going to consider New York, we have to consider in cones.
In cones.
Because there's undertones.
They can literally go for ice cream. That could be a friend appointment. But
it could be a walk-in.
Probably more of a date.
But the thing is like the tension. Mm-hmm. I would never, upon being in a relationship with Jess, be like, oh, that was one of our first dates. I would have been like too ashamed of myself to have had a boyfriend and be having a tension-filled date.
Yeah, totally.
It was tutoring. But
it was tutoring. But then they left and went for ice cream, which again can be like a friend thing.
It's a friend thing.
Yeah, totally.
It's your appointment with your friend.
Anyway.
Especially because Luke arranged it.
That's true. But them leaving for ice cream was not arranged. They chose to do that. But when they do start dating.
It's like kind of an almost. We'll put it in the almost category.
We'll put it in the almost. Yeah, totally.
The vibe of a
date.
They
do start dating. There are 2 instances. We never really see them date, which is a bummer. But one of the dates that they do go on is the Distiller Tickets date, the concert.
Yeah, which we don't see.
We don't see, but it's kind of an apology. It
is
a very controversial date, you know.
It's a Lorelai influenced date.
Yeah. But when they do start dating, of course, outside of the date where he shows up with the Distiller Tickets, we hear about the date. It's kind of towards the end of Jess and Rory, unfortunately. It's right before he says 22.8 miles when he's arguing with her in front of Elaine about like what kind of food and movie that they're going to watch. Like that is their thing, is they like to watch a movie and order in Thai food. I think Almost Famous is brought up. And Elaine is like, you're like a sweet agoraphobic couple, which I think is really cute. And so like that, it sounds to me like that was kind of their way of dating, was spending a lot of time together.
Yeah.
You know, watching movies, eating takeout.
I think that's why me and Jess kind of vibe in the early seasons, because I'm like, that's literally my ideal. Like, that's exactly what I want. Just to watch a movie at home and eat some takeout.
It's the best.
It's kind of the dream. So, and we can't consider Jess coming to the Gilmore as a date because that's Emily Gilmore was there.
Speaking of Emily Gilmore, Brett just threw in his 2 cents. Brett and I talked about this morning as I was building this list.
Wait, like just now?
Yeah, he just texted me in all caps, and I can't wait to read it to you. Yeah, can't wait.
All right,
can't wait to read it.
Breaking
to you.
news.
Anyway, moving on to season 4. At the top of the list is Rory and the urine mince guy.
Is it at the top of the list? Because it should be at the bottom of the list, actually.
I think it's in the fundamental things apply, which in that same episode is when Luke comes over to Lorelai's and they watch a movie. They watch...
Yeah, because he's there when she calls.
Yes, exactly. And so would we consider that a date? I don't think so. That's a friend appointment.
That's a friend appointment. Yeah. I think it has to... I think both parties have to kind of go into it with the awareness.
Totally.
Because I think that Jess and Rory have a lot of tension-filled appointments, and we just can't call them dates.
Yeah, you're so right. When Lorelai does eventually start dating Jason, I kind of broke their first date up into two parts, kind of like you did with the Suki and Jackson first date, because we have their first date in the quiet room.
In the isolation, in the silent room.
Silent room. And then we have the grocery store date. Room.
Which, like, talk about, like, saving the date. Like, I love the grocery store date.
I do too.
So much.
I have things to say about that later.
Okay.
Kirk and Lulu's first date.
Forgot about them. Oh my gosh, when he's recording himself.
I know, it's so cute.
So
he's recording himself, and then we see them, and then I love when he comes up behind Luke, like behind the counter, and he's like, Luke, whoa. He's like, is she still there? I've gone to the bathroom like 4 times and she's still here. It's so cute.
Expected her to leave. Oh, I remember us recapping that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Towards the end, when Rory is kind of in this weird like Dean haze, we see her go on this date with that guy who Emily kind of tries to set her up with. And he's like there with his friends at the bar, and he's going to drive drunk. And she's like, no, I'm good. And then she calls Dean to pick her up.
She does call Dean to pick her up. I called that an almost date with that guy whose name I don't remember.
Yeah, me either.
Because it's like she was just going with his friends and maybe it was intended to be a date, but I'm not going to disrespect Rory and call it one.
Yeah, totally. I'm with you. So. I guess she kind of ends up on a date with Dean, who's married.
Yeah, I will disrespect Rory and call that a date because he had a wife and they had dinner. So
yuck. Ick.
That's a date, Rory.
Yeah,
that was called cheating.
And then
that was not a friend appointment.
That was not a friend appointment. No, it wasn't. And then Luke and Lorelai at Liz's wedding. Lorelai being his date. It's so good.
The best date. She was his date. She was the date.
She was his date.
The perfect date.
The perfect date. Maybe.
Love.
We'll find out. Moving on to season 5. Season 5 is where there are a lot of dates.
Everyone's dating.
Everybody's dating in season 5. There's so many dates. And I kind of love it. I kind of love that we get a whole variety. So first of all, let's start with Written in the Stars. Luke and Lorelai's first date. Classic.
Yeah.
At Sniffy's Tavern. And that was one that
with Buddy and Maisie.
Yes, that's one that Brett brought up this morning. He was like, obviously their first date with that sweet old couple. He loves them so much. He was excited to see more of them, and then sad for him. No, we never saw them again.
They never appeared ever again.
Exactly. I also have to mention, of course, the double date, Pippi Virgin and the Bop It with Dean and Rory, Luke, and Lorelai.
My brain erased that.
Well, I'm sorry to bring it back into existence for you.
Though we loved that episode when we recapped it.
We actually did. We really surprisingly liked that episode.
It.
Yeah. Yeah. So shocking.
Secretly, we loved it.
Yeah.
I guess not secretly. We literally posted it online.
This is...
No secrets here.
This next one is the one that Brett just texted me in all caps. He said, Emily's date with Simon. It's huge. Because it is. It's a big deal. It's the only time that we see Emily really go on a date. I mean, you could argue maybe the 60-40 experience wasn't a date, but it was like, you know.
No. That wasn't even a friend appointment.
Definitely not. That was something in its own category.
That was something entirely different.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I actually have things to say about that as we continue on when we get to the discussion portion. Speed dating
with Doyle and Paris. I love it. That is so funny. Brett pointed out Rory's not date with Logan. That was one of the first ones that he mentioned, was when they are out and they're doing the notes thing. And it's like when she kind of realizes she like might have a thing for Logan. He called it their not date.
Okay.
Yeah. But also their not date, of course, after Wedding Bell Blues, when she shows up and they're playing poker. That's an almost date.
I put that under almost dates because there's actually 2 Rory and Logan almost dates. The other one's in a different season. But this one is like she went to quote unquote hang out with him with the intention of like this was a kind of date. And
totally.
His friends were there and she was like, I'm going to go. I'm actually ends up sleeping there. So
yeah.
Don't know how that occurred or transpired. But yeah. Almost. I feel like almost date.
Yeah. We get Lane and Zach's first date in season 5 when they're at their apartment, the Hep House, and Brian is there. It's so funny. And he's like, we're kind of on a date.
Yeah.
That one in context, like without the context of like how we feel about Zach, it is very cute that like he walks her to the door and it's like her bedroom door and Brian's asleep in there and he takes him and like throws him over his shoulder and kisses her. That is very cute.
It's very cute. And I do love that Brian tries to like sit down.
Yeah, he just smooshes himself in between that. We just did this last night. So funny. Yeah. I also put their date. I think this is in season 5. This is the date where he like makes all of her favorite foods and they're at the apartment and he wants to have sex and she's like, I can't have sex until I get married. And she's like, what? Why did I just say that? Is that in season 5?
Lane and Zach still. Yeah.
I think that was in season 5, not season 6.
Yeah, that was in season 5. She's like, I'm not having sex when I'm married. She's like, I just found that out too.
Yeah. Logan and Rory sneaking into the dining hall to get cereal and ice cream.
Yeah, because they went to see a play.
Yeah.
And he hates it.
He hates
it.
A
cutie little. Because that's just like a datey episode. Because that's from Pulp Fiction, is it not?
It is.
We've got the date with Robert.
Yep. Robert and Logan on his
date.
Yep, with Whitney. But then we have Luke and Lorelai getting back together.
Which we don't see the date. We see the before. We see the getting ready. Getting back together with Luke date dress, which is very cute. And that's like one of my favorite bits when they're both getting ready for their dates and the house is going through a tunnel.
I was going through a tunnel.
I love that phone call so much.
Love that phone call.
And but then when she finds out that Luke has been listening to reggae music.
That's what I was going to say. I love that we see the awkwardness of him showing up and it being like, I was going to pick you up. I was going to go to the diner. It was kind of very reminiscent of their first date. And then I love when they come back and they're playing Reggae Fever. It's very cute.
Yeah.
Very, very cute.
But do we count then? I guess it's not a matter of like counting. It's more of just recounting, I guess, because by the end of that, Logan has set up future dates between the two.
Yeah, that's true.
He really wants to lock Rory in.
Yeah, you're so right. Yeah, I guess. I think so.
I mean, it's more of just like mentioning that more dates will transpire between, what is it? She said, girls just want to have fun. Stringless fun.
Stringless
just
fun.
Their fun dates.
So true. Yeah, after that, it does become kind of this like string of dates, I guess we hear about because like they're dating, but what would you consider a date for the rest of the series between the two of them? Like, would you consider But I'm a Gilmore in that?
Well, that's what I was about to say is like they get together and I guess they go out for a little recover Rory from her hangover date. And they were going to go see a movie and Honor shows up. And so like that feels like date-ish because they've started dating. He is now her boyfriend.
Totally.
But then the dinner at the Huntsbergers, that's not a date. That's, what is it? Logan calls it the Huntsberger family Shanghai.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't call it that a date. But then he takes her out to dinner afterwards.
That's true. That's kind of a date.
Is every time you go to dinner with your significant other, is it a date?
If so, Brett and I have gone on a lot of dates.
I know. Every time you and Brett eat dinner together, Is that a date?
I don't think so. I think that like at least for me, in my like faves, these were like proper dates. These were like, I am taking you on a date.
In my faves, yes. In the walkthrough, I guess these are just kind of like occurrences.
Totally.
There's like dates.
Yeah.
But I would say in the early phase of a relationship, like
these kind of feel like
the
dates.
second day that you're together.
Yeah, totally.
A dinner feels like a date.
That's
Because
so
you're
real.
still new.
Yeah.
Still got a shine to it.
Yeah. And that's really
you
all
and
I have.
Brett eating your factor meals. That's not a date.
No, it's just us eating together. But last night we went out for sushi. Was that a date?
Yeah.
I wasn't even wearing makeup. I was
okay.
wearing yoga pants.
Are you arguing against it?
I'm just
was
saying.
Was the sushi good?
Yeah, the sushi was good.
Okay, then it was a date.
Okay, if it was bad, it wouldn't count.
No.
Great. That's all I had for season 5.
That was also all I had for season 5. Because I feel like it was very date focused, very date forward as we went through. But then everyone coupled up. You know, Paris and Doyle got together.
Totally.
Lorelai and Luke stayed together after they ended things. And then Rory and Logan, they also stayed together after
Very true.
a bit of a blow up. So
Very
so
true.
let's move on to 6.
Season 6, I have, of course, the Friday Nights All Right for Fighting date between Rogan and Rogan? Well, sure.
Logan
and Rory, which takes place at the newsroom after he saves the newspaper because they were supposed to go on a date, and then she gets tied up trying to put the paper out and they can't have their date. But then at the end, she apologizes for them not being able to do it, and he pulls out takeout and champagne. And I was like, wow, slick.
Yeah. Oh,
slick.
So I know that really is. We played Slick or Ick in our Galentine, and that
slick. That, my friends, is slick.
And in the early part of the season, we have a lot of dates between Rory and Logan because Rory lives at her grandparents and Logan takes her out quite a bit.
That's
they go
true.
have Sri Lankan food when she's like trying to get him to stay. They go on a date with the Birkin bag where everyone compliments Rory on it.
Of course.
And he was like, it's the arm it's on. And we're like, you're so kind. Logan,
you're so nice. That's so nice of you to say.
Yeah. But I feel like we're not really seeing any of the dates that they're going on though, because they're like going out with their friends. We have in Balalaika's, and then they go out with their friend Jess, but there's no like real dates being seen unless we can count them having brunch before Logan goes to see his advisor.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of tough. Like, where do we draw the line between meal and date?
They're having mimosas.
Yeah,
that feels like a date.
Yeah, I guess so.
If something's bubbling,
you could turn anything into a date if you try hard enough, and we are examples of that.
Yeah.
I'd also maybe consider Lorelai and Luke going over to Suki and Jackson's and vice versa. Maybe that's kind of like a double date, like a little dinner date with their friends, which I think is really fun.
Their friend who's not very well advised on their child's development and ability to turn the TV down.
Yeah, it's true. I'd also maybe consider the Martha's Vineyard dinner to be like a Valentine's Day date. Double date.
Yeah, it's like a weekend away date situation.
Yeah.
It's like a double date. The only double date we ever get between that quad.
Yeah, that's fair.
Kind of sad.
Is that all you had for season 6? Because I didn't really have much.
That's all I had for season 6 because we're not counting Jess. That's a friend appointment. The one in Philadelphia, that was a walk-in. And that's really it because everyone's together. Everyone's got someone.
I'd say in season 7 we get some really, really great dates, which is so interesting.
Season 7's got good dates.
It's so funny because famously we all know that I love the drive-in date in It's Wonderful, It's Marvelous. And it's so funny because everybody who responded with that date in our question box, everybody started out by saying some sort of variation of, I hate that I have to say this, but I hate to say it, but it pains me to say it, but
it's so
I was like, guys, it's a great date.
It's a great date. We don't have to consider who's on the date.
No.
But it's a great date.
It is. It's a great date.
At this point, we haven't recapped it because at the point of this airing, we will have recapped It's Wonderful, It's Marvelous, but we haven't done it as of recording this episode. So I'm interested to see what we think about it when we get to it.
Yeah, me too.
On paper, great date.
Great date.
But
yeah, I know.
Considering who's on the date.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I also love when Logan surprises Rory on the roof.
Okay, I love the great sting.
Yeah.
I love the rooftop surprise when you think your boyfriend's in London.
The rooftop
Nothing
surprise.
better.
I mean, like, I would cry. I would burst into tears.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Holding the body pillow in the middle of the roof.
If you're on Patreon, you know about the body pillow.
Well, I think that I talked about it on did I talk about this on did I talk about it on air? Because we aired partings.
No.
Oh, I think I talked about it in season 7, episode 1. You're right.
Yeah, I think it was in that one.
The girls who get it,
get it. The Long Morrow. Yeah. At least I'm pretty sure it was in the Long Morrow. But what I have to also say about the great sting is that Rory thinks she's going on a date in New York with Logan, and she gets there and it's with his coworkers. So she thinks she's going on a date, but she ends up at this like group dinner, and it's not even like a double date because you can't be on a date while everyone else is at a work dinner. Like it just, you just can't do that, because she thought she was, but that's why she's kind of at the end of it a little sullen, if you will, because she thought, yeah,
you're so
she thought she was going on a date. So I put that under almost date because Girlie thought she was going on a date.
She did.
She thinks she's going on a date with Logan sometimes. And backing up, I guess it's not a date, but choosing Chinese food, going out to Chinese food, is that an instance of Rory and Logan on a date and everyone else is there?
I was going to bring that up and I chose not to, because that felt just like a group hang. Marty also came along. You know, I could consider, like, everything with Marty also feels like a friend appointment. I think he thought it was a date.
He thought it was a date, but it was a friend appointment.
It was a friend appointment, so.
Until she put her legs over his lap.
Yeah, then it was a date. You're so right.
Yeah.
Back to season 7, I put the Paris date. Yes. Where Chris closes down the restaurant or opens up the restaurant early.
Not with Paris.
Not with Paris. The actual physically in Paris Lorelai and Christopher date. Where he opens the restaurant up early and they have this beautiful breakfast / dinner. Like they just have a meal together overlooking Paris, which is really special. Even though
here's the thing. We don't like it. But we don't like who's on it.
Yeah.
But situationally, on paper, I'm starving. He opens up a restaurant for me.
Yeah.
I'm down bad.
I'm saying.
Like, after that drive-in date.
I'm saying Chris, he's got date game. He's got date game. It's true.
Never had it ever once before.
But he's got it now. But that's all I have for season 7. Do you have anything else?
It's kind of hard because they're together at that point.
There's probably more, but that's all I have for season 7. And I feel like I've mentioned all of the ones that I'm about to rank. And I imagine that we mentioned all the ones you're probably going to rank. But if we forgot any, please let us know. If we forgot any that you feel
I do have another one.
Okay.
I do have another one that qualifies. And I realize now why it wasn't in my list, because I put it in a different list.
Okay.
I put it because I have worst dates.
Oh, sure.
And one of them is Rory Logan, Marty Lucy. Double date,
you're so
when he
right.
reveals to them.
Wait, you're so right. Wait, I also forgot.
Knew I had something else.
Wait, I can't believe I forgot this, because I literally thought of it as we were going when we were talking about Nicole. Luke's date with that vegan lady.
Oh my gosh, how did we forget that?
Also a terrible date.
It's also hard because we've been through all the other seasons. So
I know, and I'm still we're still making our way through season 7, and I don't know it super well. Yeah. So I will probably be yelling it past us when we finish and be like, what about this and this and this and this? But
you guys are yelling at us.
Yeah.
No doubt. That's what the voice line is for.
Luke's date with the vegan lady. That one was a pretty tough date.
But the swim coach. She's a swim coach.
She's the swim coach. Yes.
Which I will always die on this hill that Luke would be open to eating vegan food.
Yes, that's how we know that this is not the original writers, because Luke was initially in season 1, and I know that as the show goes on, they kind of switch things up within his character, but he was all about red meat will kill you. Enjoy.
Red meat will kill ya. He's always trying to get Lorelai to eat more vegetables and baked chips and low-fat cheese and all of these things, and he's always kind of horrified. He doesn't drink coffee. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure he's a tea guy. I think he drinks tea. Am I making that up? No, he definitely drinks tea.
I think he's a tea guy.
And so I feel like going to a vegan restaurant, he would be totally into eating vegetables and alternatives.
No, I'm so with you.
So that one I'm always like, But going to get Indian food with Marty and Lucy and Logan just
spilling the beans.
Spilling the beans.
I can't wait to watch that episode.
Yeah. Spilling the curry, if you will.
It's true. Okay.
But, oh, man.
Let's talk about our rankings because I know that we were supposed to rank 5. I ranked 5 and then I have 5 honorable mentions. So I really ranked 10.
So there's 10. Okay. What's your number?
Let's start from the bottom.
Of which list? Because I don't have the same list.
Well, I'm going to start. I'll do 5 and then I'll share my honorable mentions.
Okay.
If they are in your 5, then I'll share them. And then if not, I'll share them at the end. So let's start with number 5. For me, coming in at number 5 is the red light on the wedding night double date between Max and Lorelai and Dean and Rory. I love that date so much. The vibes were so good. Like I wanted to be on the date.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I just love the ice cream. All of it. It's just, I love that date.
I'm pretty sure everyone just gasped.
Really?
Yeah.
Here's the thing is that you have to think of this as like, this is objectively, right? It's like kind of circumstantial. It's not necessarily about the people who are on the date. It's about the date itself. Like,
that's so
or
fair.
About how I feel about the people involved. It's about the date itself.
It is about the date itself. Sometimes I feel like we're like, this is objective. This is objectively true. And it's like, no, girlies, everything you do is actually subjective. But no, I understand what you mean. But yeah, because if we're looking at it from the point of view of people that we adore, like especially you, there's not really like a Jess date that's like slam dunk. So I understand. Yeah. Okay.
What about you?
Cool.
What's at number 5?
My number 5 is the Jason grocery store date with
It's
Lorelai.
so good. That is definitely in my honorable mentions because
so
it's just so good. I love it. I love it. And when we build a date later, I have something to say.
Okay. I just love the progression of that night too, of like a date that Lorelai does not want to be on. They go to a drive-thru, which Jason does not want. And so then they end up at the grocery store because they're both super hungry, but then they both start buying things for themselves. Jason breaks into he doesn't break in. He like has someone let them into the stock room because she wants her Pringles.
Totally.
Which when we watched that, it sent me into a Pringle era. And I just was constantly eating Pringles naturally. But
wait, that's so true. You totally did do that.
I did have a Pringle era, but then when they're sitting outside, it's cute. It's just a fun flask.
I love flask.
It.
It's also a great episode. It's good.
It's good.
That's good stuff. Okay, coming in at number 4 for me is the Star-Crossed Lovers and Other Strangers, Dean and Rory's 3-month anniversary date. That's
also my number 4.
It is. It's so good. It's just so cute for a 16-year-old boy to have set this up. I would have died if a 16-year-old boy did this for me when I was 16, not now. But if also a man who was
when I was
appropriately aged did this for me now. It's so sweet the way it was planned. I'm not thinking about the way it ended. I'm not thinking about the fact that like this for me is kind of like the Dean origin story of like, ooh, this is when you really start to take a turn for me.
Dean sucks.
Yeah. I'm not thinking about that. I am just thinking about
the date itself. Mm-hmm. And especially when they're actually at dinner, because we don't see a ton of dates we're at dinner, that sort of thing.
We don't.
Like it's the leaving, the getting ready, the talking about it, but we're at this date with them.
We're at the date.
And he just kind of let her go crazy with the menu.
Yeah.
Because he knows her.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's cute.
And it's just, he got her.
Loved
it. Perfect. And didn't he let her get the meatball?
The meatball, one and a meatball to go.
Yeah.
That was very
Not
cute.
let her get the meatball, but it was like, he got it.
Yeah,
he
was like, get the meatball. Yeah, I don't get it, but get the meatball. Coming in at number 3 for me is A-Tisket, A-Tasket, Rory and Jess on the bridge, followed by pizza and book shopping. We didn't see the pizza and book shopping portion, but we heard about it. And I just think that like that unintentional first date between the two of them is really, really cute.
Okay. If we're calling that unintentional first date between them, what do we call Luke buying her basket.
It is also kind of an unintentional, maybe not first date, but an unintentional date.
Yeah. Because I don't want to challenge you that that's a date because one of them has a boyfriend.
That's true. It's true. But I did put the Luke and Lorelai and A-Tasket in my honorable mentions because I think that it's very cute.
Yeah. Can I tell you my number 3 is similar?
Okay.
And maybe I cheated.
Okay, tell me.
I put A-Tasket dates.
Okay.
Like just like the montage
of dates.
The Luke and Lorelai, Jess and Rory. Suki and Jackson.
Yeah.
It's just all really cute and just everything that happens. The
Totally.
proposal. I just I put all of that because
I love that.
I liked it all.
I think it's great. That's perfect. Very similar. All right. What's your number 2?
Yeah. My number 2, and it's not even fair. Okay. My number 2 is Written in the Stars. Luke
Luke and Lorelai. That was in my honorable mentions because I do love that date. I do love that date.
As you're saying, these are my honorable mentions, that you had them because first of all, Tara didn't tell me that we could have honorable mentions, but I guess in the past we've just made up rules as we go along anyway.
Whoops. I was like 5. I'm supposed to pick 5.
I know. Because there's 3 that I have left for number 1 because looking at my list because I have other categories which I will get to. Which to be fair, I made up other categories when you had an honorable mention. I don't know. I'm getting mad at you about that. Looking at them, I'm okay, well, yeah, one of these is my number 1. Maybe we should have given
these superlatives instead of ranking them.
I have superlatives.
You do?
So I'll offer some superlatives.
Great.
And so I'm going to stick with number 2, which is Written in the Stars, Lorelai and Luke, because I love what this means for the 2 of them. I love what it means for Luke because he's been saving this horoscope and he reveals it and he says he's all in and just the importance of this and taking her to his Luke's, to Sniffy's Tavern and just the hilarity of Sniffy's Tavern's background, but also meeting Buddy and Maisie. I just
yeah.
It just feels like Luke was welcoming her into his life.
Totally.
And there's something about that I just really endearing.
I know.
So
it's very, it endears you to Luke, which we already were endeared, but it endears them to how much he's been kind of pining for her, which is really special. Yeah, I love that. For number 2, I put the Logan Rory date in Friday Night's All Right for Fighting when he saves the paper and he takes the takeout out and the wine. It's just so good.
It's so smooth, so cute.
So smooth, so slick. I just love the idea. And this kind of goes hand in hand with the Jason grocery store date. I love when things don't go according to plan and you have to have a plan B. And instead of just being oh, okay, we didn't get this date. We'll do it another time. He finds a way to make both happen. He finds a way to not only save, to help her with what she's set out to do that she's clearly so passionate about while he's going through this redemption arc, but he also finds a way to still make the date happen. Imagine this guy really, really hurts you and, you spent some time apart and you've been thinking about him.
I don't want to be hurt.
No, but just he's you really loved this guy, really, really did. And he hasn't said anything to you. And he comes back and he's I love you. And she's what the fuck? No.
He loves me.
And you fall apart over him in therapy. And then you also are watching him try and try and try and try. You finally are okay, I will give you a chance because my mom wrote me a letter. And then this happens.
I can almost see this playing out.
Huh.
Like in a scene.
Like in a scene.
Not like a movie, but smaller.
Like a TV show.
Then it's on my TV.
But just envision it. He is in this redemption era. And then it comes to a head. She's really trying to fix this. And she's under a lot of stress. He comes in, not only saves the day, but he also saved your date. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get to sit with him and eat.
Yeah.
What? I would love that.
I know.
It's a 10 out of 10 for me.
You're telling this to me?
I know.
I love it. I love when she says, boy, when you're on. It's just cute.
Yeah,
Can I tell you my top? I don't know. I was yelling at you about rules earlier.
How many do you have?
I have 3 for my first one, but it's a category.
Okay.
Listen, it's a category.
Tell me.
And that date is in it. It's Logan spontaneity.
Okay.
Because we have Pulp Friction at the dining hall when he, go ahead, get your Cocoa Puffs.
Dining
Just
hall
tries
is in
to
my
save
honorable
money.
mentions. Yes.
We have the Friday Nights Alright for Fighting date where he has burritos and wine. I assume the burritos, they're wrapped up like burritos. I seem like it. Something along those lines. And then the Great Stink when he like shows up on the rooftop.
Also in my
doesn't
honorable
realize he's there.
mentions. I mean, like that almost made it into my top because it's such a great date.
It's so good. And so I call it Logan spontaneity
I get it.
as like a
He's
heading
great at the
because I couldn't-
spontaneity.
He's great. He's great on a date. Logan
Yeah.
is great at dating.
Yeah, I would
there's
probably
something
put a lot of those in my number 2 slot as well. Like having the Friday Nights Alright for Fighting date there alongside the rooftop date, alongside the sneaking into the dining hall, like that. Those made it into my honorable mentions for a reason because they're so good.
I just feel like they all and like how could Logan not be my top? And they all give me that same feeling of like, I mean, the Great Stink, he surprises her and she's been missing him obviously because he's been in London and she didn't know he was going to be in the US and then
Let alone on her roof. Like what the fuck? I just think that's
well, it's his roof too.
No, I know. I just mean like
Their
roof. But I just mean she didn't even know he was going to be in the country, let alone like there. And
let alone on the top of her building.
I would fall apart.
It's just
I would cry tears of joy.
But it's like in the different phases of their relationship. It's like 5, 6, 7. So I feel like the progression of Logan's spontaneity just goes up and up and up. You know,
Totally.
having a key to get some cereal versus flying internationally to have dinner with you on the roof. I mean, he does have other plans, but
Yeah,
that doesn't
that's
matter.
true.
What's your number 1?
Do you have a guess?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's Wonderful, It's Marvelous.
Yeah, that date. I'm sorry. It's just so good.
It's so good. It was there. It was there.
It's just so good.
It made a different category
I'm
for me.
sorry.
But
Like take out the fact that it's Christopher who like has the riz when it comes to dating. Apparently, just like Logan, like for building good dates.
that's why they're so similar. They can like take you on a good date.
Yeah, it's a great
I mean, Dean can too.
date. Yeah, Dean is good at the date planning, but
Intentional. Because Dean's intentional.
He is. That's
Sometimes
so
his
true.
intentions get a little scary.
Yes, but he's
a little
intentional.
overbearing, if you will. Not scary.
Yeah. I just think that this Christopher date is so, it's clearly well thought out. It's so Lorelai. It's so me. Like, I would love this date.
Yes.
If Brett rented a convertible and took me to just this like barn that was playing one of my favorite movies and pulled out all of my favorite snacks and candy. Are you joking? Like,
how did you not smell the
Say
popcorn
less.
in the console between
yeah,
you?
I would be a little confused about that myself.
How did the ices not melt?
We have a lot of questions.
I've got a questions, Chris, but it's a great date. I put that in the category of great date, wouldn't want to be on it.
Yeah.
Like in the sense of like, I wouldn't want to be on the date with Chris.
With Chris, of course.
Yeah.
No, I'd want to be on the date with somebody else. But the
I would
date
want to
itself,
be on the date.
really
Great.
good. Really good
Yeah.
date. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it's in my number 1. But my honorable mentions were a lot of what was included in yours. We've got the Luke and Lorelai first date and Written in the Stars, the Logan and Rory rooftop date, Logan and Rory sneaking into the dining hall to get cereal and ice cream, Jason and Lorelai's grocery store date, and Luke and Lorelai in A-Tisket, A-Tasket, which is kind of a date. So
I know. I realized mine were kind of like categories.
yours
I
were
kind of, like,
categories.
I kind of cheated a little bit.
A little.
We both joined in with not
The merriment of cheating a little and making our own rules.
we like laid out the plans, the situation,
And then like
the
did a
format,
little
and
bit
then
of a
changed it
twist.
little.
Okay, so
Well, it was because I was coming across these and like thinking about them. I was like, okay, this isn't my favorite date, but Emily and Simon McLean, most heartbreaking date.
yeah.
Like
Because it
there's
was
no
a
other
good date. She had a great time on that date.
She had a great time, and that's why it hurts.
Yeah.
Because then she came home and was devastated by
I
it.
know.
So
Sad.
I did put that.
Yeah.
And then for worst date, I put Rory and Logan, Marty and Lucy, kind of tied with Urine Mints. Because like different in bad ways. I mean, bad in different ways, rather.
So with all of that in mind, taking into consideration like all of the faves we just shared, I
Yes.
want to do a little build a date If you had to take kind of all of like the perfect elements or your favorite elements to build your perfect date, what would they be?
Okay. I have some questions for you.
Okay.
For this date, are we going on a date?
Yes.
You and me? Or are we going on a date and we get to choose the person we're going on a date with?
You can choose
the person. Like, are you going on a date with Brett, or can you go on or are we taking the real world out of it and we're going on a Gilmore Girls date?
Well, that's a good question. Can I share mine with you? And then we can kind of determine what that looks like. Because this is what I said. If I had to build a date,
okay,
I like the element of spontaneity, but I also enjoy a plan. Like, I like a nice balance. So I think that I would take the planning part of a dinner.
That's the most Tara thing I've ever heard. I want a spontaneous plan.
It's so true. It's so true.
I'd like to plan to be spontaneous.
No, but seriously, I have this really fine line within me where like spontaneity stresses me out, but I also don't like having like a really firm plan. Like, I am somewhere between my mom and Brett on a spectrum. And I say that because my mom is like deep planner. My mom is like, you know, way in advance is like booking her tickets for something. But Brett is a little more loose goose, right?
Yeah.
He likes having a plan, but he's kind of like,
but you can't be too loose, too goose. Yeah.
Can't be too loose, too goose. But I think too much rigidness is a little like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be a bit of a plan, like a skeleton of a plan with the option for spontaneity. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like, I remember like the really perfect example of this is I remember you being like with someone and you guys were just wandering around.
Yes.
And you were like, is the plan to wander around?
Yes.
Or do we need to go somewhere? And then
where are we going?
Once you concluded that the plan was to wander, you were like, great, I'm here.
Exactly. And I tell Brett this all the time because we will find ourselves in situations where we're all, like, we're in a group and we're all just kind of, we might have been in New Orleans.
Yeah.
We're all just kind of moseying. And I was like, where are we going? Like, I just need to know where we're going. Are we planning on moseying? It's nowhere,
cool. Fine. I can mosey with the best of them.
But are we going somewhere? Where are we supposed to be going? Are we supposed to like what's the plan? And I understand that some people might be like, there is no plan, Tara. Loosen up. But for me, it's like, I can be loose and I can be goose, but you got to tell me that we're being loose goose.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
I need to be loose and goose within some confines.
Yes. Like, we're coloring inside the lines.
Will we eventually eat at some point?
Yes.
Like, really, that's what we need to know.
Yes, exactly. We're just moseying. The other thing is like, I don't like, if we're in a group, let's say, and somebody is like, okay, we're going to go to a bar. We're like looking for a bar to go and eat and do something. But everybody is kind of wandering around hoping that someone else will take the lead. That's when I also get really stressed. I'm like, okay, who's taking charge here? Like, is one of us actually looking?
Usually it has to be me.
Usually has to be me too, which is fine. But it's just when we're like aimlessly moseying, that's when I start to get stressed.
Yeah.
So that's why I say
was to aimlessly mosey.
Was to mosey. That's fine. If we're just moseying around and saying, we're just going to look around a little bit. Great. That sounds great to me.
Looking around.
But
eyes wide open.
But if no one says that, there is something about that stresses me out, which is why I say I like the element of spontaneity.
Yes.
So like we have a plan B, i.e. Logan and Rory, and the Friday nights are right for fighting date. Like we have a plan, but then something goes awry. But I have a backup plan to make sure that our plans don't feel like they just fell through. Same with Jason and Lorelai. It's like they had a plan for dinner. That wasn't the vibe. They go to the drive-in. That also wasn't the vibe. That part would stress me out. But then you eventually get to the grocery store date.
That part does stress Tara out because Tara talked on the podcast in that recap about how the drive-through part did stress her out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Though, question. So this is part of the date. Are you the planner of the date?
No, I'm not the planner of the date.
Because you were talking about how you have a backup plan.
Mm-hmm. Me being you being the general you. Like, if Brett were to take me on a date, but it was something that didn't quite work out, he would be like, okay, I have a plan B.
Okay. So what you need out of this date is for the other person to really understand your love language. Mm-hmm. And that they need to do the act of the plan.
Yeah. It's kind of like when we were talking about this the other day, when we had plans to go to Lulu, we had a date planned, right?
Yes.
We're going to Lulu. We sit down. It's kind of the antithesis of what Lorelai and Jason were feeling. Lorelai was like, this is too quiet.
loud.
It was way too loud in there. I couldn't even think in this space we were in. And I was like, I'm not going to have a good time because it's too loud. Lorelai wasn't going to have a good time because it was too quiet. And so Brett and I leave. And I was like, okay, like we're going with the flow. We're looking for a place. And we stumble upon Pastille, which ended up becoming one of our favorite restaurants. That is a good date. Spontaneous.
Okay.
There's spontaneity there because we could have stayed there and said, no, this was the plan. We have to stay. We have dinner here. Lorelai and Jason could have stayed. No, this was the plan. We are eating dinner here. And it would have not been a great date. The reason it was a great date is because they went to the grocery store, which was a very unexpected place to have a good date. Pastille was not an unexpected place to have a good date. It was a restaurant and we had a great date there. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like there's also spontaneity in like the plan that Rory had for Dean to bid on her basket. And then he did, but Jess kind of comes in because he brought enough money. He takes her to the dock. They have a lovely little conversation. They have a laugh over the fact that she packed things that Dean would never have eaten. And then they end up going to get pizza and book shopping. There's something really fun about that.
So you need there to be a happy ending to it.
There has to be a happy ending.
Yeah. Like it's kind of like in the romance genre, in romance books. It's only a romance book if it has a happy ending.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the same thing with a date. It could go wrong and you will be stressed for the part where it's going wrong.
Yeah, maybe I'll be a little stressed.
But it ended happy, so you can erase that pretty
easily. And maybe the stressful part is like the things that are maybe going a little wrong, but the journey of getting there. Because like once Brett and I left Lulu, I was having a giggly time. I was like, we'll find a place. It'll be great. And then we stumbled upon Pastille.
To be like stressed out in a situation, but once you've exited it.
And then once I've exited, I'm like, hey, everything's great. It's going to be fine.
It wasn't me who was panicking.
I wasn't panicking.
We're having a great time now. Okay, so I want to back up and change the rules a little bit then.
Okay.
Given how you need your date to progress, I need you to pick a Gilmore man to take you on this date who is going to be able to switch gears if things go awry.
Logan.
Okay.
Because the thing is, here's the thing, is that I would pick Jess because he's, of course, Jess. Jess. But I don't know that Jess would necessarily be able to switch gears like this. I think he'd be a little more aloof in that he'd be like, all right, didn't work out. You know?
Like at the newspaper, I think that they would go get dinner. I don't think he would have.
He wouldn't have brought dinner. Yeah, which is fine. Going to get dinner is fine. Be like, okay, we just saved the paper. I will take you to get dinner. Because alternatively, I put like, I like the planning part of dinner that maybe doesn't go as planned. And it's like, okay, something happens. Now we have to figure out where we go next. But then they also had after dinner plans, which would be the drive-in date of like, you know, dinner and a movie, but it's like dinner that didn't go as planned, a la Jason and Lorelai, a la Logan and Rory. And then there's this after dinner plan of drive-in with snacks and candy. That goes well. And then afterwards we go and get ice cream, a la Max and Lorelai, Dean and Rory in town.
Or
in Cones.
Logan breaking into the dining hall.
Exactly. That would be my perfect date of these scenarios, like pulling from each of these scenarios.
That's a wild time.
It is a wild time, but wouldn't it be fun? Think about it.
Wouldn't it be fun? Okay. Because, I mean, there's like a couple of different ways this could go. Do I want to go on a date with Zach? No. But do I want to have a date at my house? Kind of.
No.
Where like we kind of get dressed up at our house and watch something and order some food. That kind of sounds nice to me. As someone who loves being at her house, that sounds kind of nice.
Totally.
But if we're going out, like I also like the idea of like Logan being on the roof. I haven't gone far from my house, but I have left. I'm on top of it now.
I love that.
That too. Yeah.
Alternatively, what about a themed date a la Donna Reed? That also sounds like a lot of fun.
Also at your house. Well, I'm actually at my next door neighbor's house.
Or your next door neighbor's house or your house.
I'm at the house.
You know what I mean? So, it kind of feels like it's definitely like Dean and Rory, but it also feels a little like Lorelai and Rory. It feels a little like I'm going to deck this place out to make it feel themey.
Yeah.
You know? There's a theme.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to back up a little bit.
Okay.
I've listed all these scenarios of like where the perfect date would exist. My house, it seems. But thinking about Gilmore Girls as a whole, thinking about myself and what I would want out of a date, I don't even think I have to place some things together. I think I can just like know exactly which one it is. And I ranked it rather high. I did not rank it the first one, but I think that the perfect date without even having to build the date itself is Luke's date in Written in the Stars. Like, first of all, you're going somewhere very meaningful, very sentimental to him. He is being very upfront about his intentions with you. He is explaining a way that he has been invested in you as a person for quite some time, which would answer to any like sort of like insecurities you might have as you start dating. And you're getting to meet someone who means a lot to him.
You're so right.
They bring you champagne to the table.
I think that what we can agree on is that is the perfect date.
That is the perfect date. Mm-hmm. And I think that the way that he treats her and talks to her and her response to it is nothing, but that's just interesting in the storyline.
Well, her response to it is nothing that we see because they clearly continue the date. We just don't see it.
Yeah, we don't see where it goes. But I think that date answers to a lot of things I would want on a date, especially as we're starting to date, especially if I've known this person for quite some time. So I don't even think I have to really build it. I think it's that one.
It's there. Yeah, it's there. I love that. I think that's a great response because I do think that like, not that we necessarily were on a quest to find the perfect date, but I think we found it. It is the perfect date. I think it is, even though I did not necessarily rank it in my faves, this was more of a personal preference. I do think that date is very sentimental and quite perfect for the series, arguably the perfect date in the series.
Yeah. But if I could make up a date for myself within the series, like kind of like move some characters around through seasons, I think that my ideal date would be for Logan to bid on my basket. Like, if I'm in the series, I think that's the date I want to go on.
Okay.
I want Logan to bid on my basket.
What would that look like?
It would probably involve some snacks from my house. Probably like some pastries. Maybe a recess.
Yeah.
And then Logan would take me to dinner. Because maybe we would go get pizza and go to the bookstore. Maybe something other than pizza, because I famously am not a pizza person. But
yeah, I know.
I think that would be it. What about you? If you could like pick someone and go on someone else's date?
Probably the Jess A-Tasket date. I mean, I would have loved the Luke and Lorelai date, but I want to go on a date with Jess. I love the idea of him like just totally hijacking my plans and bidding
with
on my
your
basket.
Boyfriend?
Not with Brett. Dean? Sure.
Wait. If you were, so you're dating Brett. Brett is trying to bid on your basket. Jess comes up and then get your basket. It's like looking in a mirror.
Yeah, exactly. No, I would be really sad for my Brett.
I think, admittedly, Brett would come on the date. I think y'all would have a great time. Yeah.
It's so true. You're so right. But anyway, that was our dates episode. I loved that. That felt like town meetings where we just had like a good time. It really
did. That's what I said before this. That's why I was excited for this one, because I like going through like one thing throughout the whole series and kind of
that through line
it out like that.
Though town meetings was just like on its own level. It just was such a good. I loved.
When was that?
Episode. November. Yeah, it was the beginning of November. It was very, very. It was really fun. I loved it.
Yeah, and a lot of people, that was their fave. So
yeah, us too.
Maybe you'll enjoy this one, because I do enjoy going through this one with you. Though if you're on YouTube, you'll watch me slowly enter into darkness.
Yeah, because the weather is questionable in the spring. Which, speaking of, they have a saying: April showers bring May flowers. So
what do Mayflowers bring?
I don't know. What do they bring?
Pilgrims.
Oh, wow. That's so funny. That's such a dad joke.
Tara, you've never heard that before?
No.
Am I the first person who's told you that joke?
Yes.
No.
I have never heard that in my life.
Tara, you've never been to the 4th grade?
No.
Oh my God, Tara. I truly cannot believe that I just told you that joke on the podcast and you've never heard it before. You don't know what Mayflowers bring pilgrims? Like the Mayflower?
I know what the
my family
pun
came over
means.
on the Mayflower.
Yeah, no, I know what the pun is.
No, I know,
but I had never heard that before.
That's what I mean.
Wait, Brett just walked in. I want to ask him if he's heard it.
Yeah, ask Brett.
Brett, can you come here for a second? Oh, sorry. Nancy's on the phone.
Well, ask Nancy.
We're still recording.
Oh. We're walking in on the podcast.
Hi, Nancy.
We have a very important question for you.
We have a very important question for you.
Hold on a second. I'm putting you on this one.
Okay. April showers bring Mayflowers, right?
Yes, yeah.
What do Mayflowers bring?
Pilgrims.
Oh, fuck. I've never heard this before.
Tara, I cannot believe it. You have to tell him you've never heard that before.
I've never heard of this before. Haley said the joke.
Didn't you grow up in like Pilgrim Land?
That's what I'm saying. You're from Connecticut.
Haley goes, you're from Connecticut.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never heard that before. She said, what do Mayflowers bring? I said, I don't know. She said, pilgrims. What? Have you never been in the 4th grade?
Yeah.
And I said, I've never heard this before. And Nancy's on the phone too.
Mom knew them personally. Was it the Nina or the Santa Maria?
It was the Pinta.
I always get that confused.
All right, I'll be done in a sec. Thanks, guys.
Mom's an OG.
I love it.
She was the Mayflower. She was the OG.
She was an OG. She was a Mayflower. I love it. All right, I'll be on a sec. Oh my God, I've never heard of that before.
Tara, I am screaming silently.
Anyway, what I was going to say is that April showers us with her presence. Not in April, but April showers us with her presence in season 6. And April is for April. So we are kicking off April next week with an episode about April. And then the following week, we will, of course, do our Paley Fest recap. And then the following week after that, we will do an April Gilmore to consider. So if you have thoughts about April, questions, any like interesting, intriguing thoughts before or after our April episode airs, please call in because we're going to have a nice little homage to April in April.
Because if you were in Patreon season 6 with us, you know that we have a lot of interesting thoughts about our girl April.
And we'll have more to say on that in the next episode.